You want to know something about me? Now come here, come a little closer first, let me tell you. I'm a huge Halo fan. I mean, I grew up with Nintendo games like Mario Kart, but Halo would ultimately be the defining series of my teenage years. You might have had Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or the MCU, but I had Master Chief and an MA40 AR, that was all I needed. Setting aside 343's past transgressions, I will always love this franchise and be there for it whenever it succeeds or just completely fails. So I don't want to be another guy who just watches the show, talks trash on it for 15 minutes or so, and uploads my review as soon as possible to be the first video review up. Because I do love this franchise and I want only the best for it. So yes, I'm going to give you my mostly negative thoughts on the show, tough love, but then I want to address what I believe is the core issue that nobody's talking about, and how adaptations going forward can learn from these mistakes and make truly great entertainment for nerds like myself. Needless to say, when I first saw the trailer for Halo Season 1, I was pumped. 2 years ago, the general rule was that if a video game adaptation was coming out, it was going to be crap. But this was a big budget show approved by 343 themselves, and they cast a man who I thought would be perfect to play Master Chief, so I had a lot of optimism going into this one. And March 24th, 2022, I was sat down to see how my beloved Halo would be adapted to the big screen. Right away, though, things were wrong. Really, really wrong.
What the hell is even that? God.
We're introduced to a tidal wave of new characters that are either boring or just infuriating, and the ones we did come here to say get almost no screen time, and they're barely recognizable from the ones from the games.
Oh, now they're just being mean.
It's about an 8-hour show, and we get, maybe just barely 40 minutes of action scenes, just barely any at all. Any Master Chief that we came to see kicking butt. And speaking of Master Chief, where is he? Because I see an imposter. This isn't Master Chief. He has insane temper tantrums. All because they removed this stupid emotion blocking chip that the showrunners put in the show. Because they just couldn't grasp the idea that maybe, just maybe Master Chief is a total boss without any chip keeping his emotions in check. Maybe he's just naturally awesome.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
And worst of all was the scene when I realized Master Chief was about to get down with McKee, and I had about 10 seconds to run for my life. And finally, butts. Butts everywhere. Apparently, the best way to introduce a main villain is to flash his cheeks for about 5 seconds. Whoever wrote this show was clearly a huge Bob's Burgers fan. The memes are so out of control that Master Chief, a cultural icon, Petty Officer John 117, is reduced to the label of Master Cheeks. I had no idea they could flop this badly. Then again, apparently you can body blow your head coach in anger and face 0 consequences, so what do I know? I could rant for about 2 hours on everything this show did to make thousands of Halo fans really, really angry. But let's talk about the supposed redemption of Season 2. It's always hard to tell if showrunners are listening to fan feedback, but the marketing push for Season 2 said that it was a fresh reset of the series and it would be taking a much different direction that was sure to satisfy fans. Even Pablo Schreiber came out and voiced his on-set disagreements with certain directions taken with Master Chief. And I'll be totally honest, Season 2 definitely hits a couple more Halo themes on the head, and if you know nothing about the games, you can have some fun here. That being said, this show, it still doesn't know how to Halo, and there are certain aspects that are still really bad, and certain aspects that are so unintentionally funny, I just laugh out loud.
Very scared.
Tell me his name. Tell me the man, his name.
Stop. Right out of the gate, big adjustment, Master Chief doesn't suck as much. They're still determined to shove this weird Twilight romance between him and McKee, and he gets a little angry, but only a little bit. One staple of Master Chief's character that was absent from Season 1, though, was the one-liners.
You know how expensive this gear is, son?
Tell that to the Covenant.
But in Season 2, he actually dishes a couple out from time to time.
You Bravo?
We're Bravo. Communications team.
I know. I can tell from your aim.
I still think Pablo Schreiber is a perfect casting choice. He's really dedicated to being the best Master Chief he can be, as we see from his workout routines and interviews. I mean, I'll pull up a clip of him now because holy crap! Did he train long and hard to get his body in Spartan shape? I mean, look at this guy. It's like his abs form their own little continent. Seriously, this guy rules. Unfortunately, though, they still really don't know how to give us the Master Chief that most fans, myself included, really want. The rest of the cast is a pretty mixed bag. I am curious to see some of their journeys play out, especially Spartan Riz, because she's kind of awesome. But others are less interesting. Quan Ha was a pivotal character in Season 1. She even got her own episode. And she continues to be the single most insufferable character in a show ever. She literally berates a child after he loses his father and then throws a tantrum when he runs away. I mean, holy crap, girl. It was your fault. She also has this cute little fight scene in episode 2 that involved a lot of accommodating stuntmen to fly around and break their neck after she basically just sneezes on them. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to address this following issue that I think is the biggest flaw this show has, and that is the messy, convoluted subplots. So, the Covenant, right, have been practicing these raids on planets before they glass them, and Master Chief believes that they're planning their invasion of Reach, and that's all well and good. But we have this super stupid subplot about Oni hiding these raids from the public. Now, when I originally wrote my script for this video, I had only seen up to episode 2, but while I was editing, episode 3 came out. And at the time of episode 2, I thought the only reasoning for Oni keeping these things secret was that the Oni leader was a Covenant spy, which was stupid. And a lot of people seem to like episode 3, but I cannot get on board with that, because do you all remember Commander Holdo from The Last Jedi? Remember how her keeping the plans from Poe was a stupid plot device used to get people where they needed to be and to get the ball rolling, and everybody agreed back when it came out that it was the stupidest plot device ever? They pulled the same crap in episode 3 and nobody's calling them out on it. He doesn't tell Master Chief their plan, that they know Reach is being invaded by the Covenant and they're keeping it secret to move their valuable resources out. For no reason. I mean, yeah, they want to move their Oni stuff out, but it doesn't explain why they can't move their stuff out and civilians at the same time, like they don't debate resources or anything. And also you could argue that, like, yeah, you know, he doesn't want to work with Master Chief because he lost his sister in the Spartan program and that's why he doesn't like Spartans. But he works with every other Spartan, so him not cooperating with Master Chief is just a stupid plot device to get Master Chief to go rogue.
Sorry. What?
We also get a ton of filler with Catherine Halsey and a space pirate named Soren that if Season 1 taught me anything, I don't see going anywhere. But, and a very big but at that, I must say, I will be sticking with this show basically just to see the fall of Reach. This is an area of Halo where I think it's totally okay to take some liberties and add a lot of stuff, and I do hope the climax has a decent payoff, even if the journey up to it barely feels like Halo. So, that wraps up my thoughts on Seasons 1 and 2. But I don't want to just sit here complaining all day. Remember when I said, we'll come back to that later? Well, I wasn't leaving important moments unanswered, like a certain movie. Because there is a simple solution to all of this show's flaws, and it's something I don't think we've considered enough. We've all been saying, how do we fix this? Or, why didn't they get the right people who played Halo to make a Halo TV show? And those are valid questions. But what about this? Should Halo have been a TV show in the first place? I truly believe that there are very few outcomes where a TV show adaptation of Halo works, even with the right people, and that a Halo film series would have been a much better option. Let me explain. A very talented YouTuber named The Act Man made a 30-minute long video talking about fixing the Halo show, in which he basically described how a screenwriter would turn each level in the game into a full-length episode. I respect his thinking, but I do think he, as well as many others, continue to think inside the box and not consider if Halo should even be a TV show. If you were to follow this format of making every episode a level from the game, it would be pretty cool for Halo fans, but it would be boring and insanely bloated. It would literally be Mandalorian Season 3 on steroids, because Halo's structure does not accommodate for a TV show. It would be action scene after action scene that absolutely no CGI budget could ever afford, and by the time you had a little plot snuck in there, you'd be asleep. The Last of Us, it proved that you can successfully adapt a game into a full-length TV series. But The Last of Us is a roughly 20-hour campaign with fleshed out characters, and about 2/3 of the gameplay itself is just basically a cutscene where the characters will interact and grow. These types of games cannot fit into a movie because of how large they are, but they can find great success on the not-so-big screen of HBO. And HBO, if you're out there, please, for the love of Bob Odenkirk, collaborate with Rockstar and make a Red Dead Redemption 2 TV show, because it would absolutely rule and be the single greatest piece of television ever. Whew. Going back to what made The Last of Us show work, Halo doesn't have that. Halo has a story that has captivated millions of people, yeah, but let's analyze the amount of story in each game. Halo 1 has roughly 38 minutes of cutscenes, Halo 2 has 50 minutes, and Halo 3 has a comfortable 48 minutes. Now, let's add about 20 minutes of storytelling that happens during gameplay, and what we're left with is roughly an hour and 10 minutes of storytelling, which would be spread way too thin over an 8-hour show.
Like butter scraped over too much bread.
A Halo show is almost destined to fail because the writers need to insert a lot of filler that isn't in the games, which has a very low chance of being done in a way that feels like an extension of what's already established. A movie can take everything we love from Halo and slap it on the big screen with no controversial additions and achieve a very reasonable runtime. This also makes so much more sense from a business perspective. Halo's fan base is huge, and a well-marketed and faithful Halo movie would dominate the box office. First because loyal fans would go see it, and then word of mouth would get everybody to go see it. A smart play would have been to make a movie about Halo Reach. You can establish the lore in the world, follow Noble Team as they fight to save a doomed planet. All the while we have this mystery of what their ultimate objective is. The movie ends with Noble 6 fighting to the death and a eulogy by Captain Keyes honoring their sacrifice. But then, in a post-credits scene...
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha. I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone. And Cortana. Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
Whoa. Sir? Right. Let's thaw him out.
Okay. Bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds. He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
Come on, tell me that wouldn't be awesome. To me, that is the dream movie experience, and it would set up a Halo movie franchise perfectly. Ultimately though, I think it is just a dream. Yeah, we have seen films and even video game adaptations get reboots, but if there is one for Halo, I think it is a very long ways off. As sad as it is to see the Halo show be a failure, the least we can do is learn from it and not make the same mistakes going forward. Yes, to make a good adaptation you need talented writers and directors who respect the source material, but you also need a solid foundation. Games like The Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, and Fallout absolutely fit into a TV show model, but other games like Halo, Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, and Wolfenstein are made for that 2-hour runtime on the big screen. Uncharted taught us that just because the foundation is strong doesn't mean you have guaranteed success. You really do need the right people who understand and respect the source material at the helm. But Halo has taught us that you have very little chance of success when you build your product on a foundation of quicksand. I really do hope that producers can learn from these mistakes, especially since video game adaptations appear to be the next big wave in cinema, and I for one am hoping that they can deliver what Halo could not.